So before the beach events, we come down to Roja Bay in the morning, and the snorkeling team has a look around and sees what animals are out, and we collect them up for the beach event. Different animals live in different niches in different areas around the bay, so we need to go looking specifically for a wide diversity of animals in order to be able to properly represent what it is we have here along the Gibraltar coastline. My name is Luis Tanieto, and I'm the marine biologist for the Nautilus Project. So the activity that we've seen today is split up into two parts. There's a classroom session which talks about the Gibraltar coastline creatures, the animals that we see, the different phyla that are represented along the coast. And then the second part of that is to go down to the beach, where we have a bit more of a hands-on session to allow children to see the animals in the flesh. Okay guys, welcome. This is the second part of the talk we had yesterday, and I hope you're going to find it, really interesting and a real good chance to see some of the animals that perhaps you wouldn't have seen before. Just a couple of basic rules. Remember that, of course, they are real life animals, and some of them, their skin is quite sensitive. So hands, I know it's very tempting. You're sitting on the beach, put your hands in the sand, they get covered in sand, then you touch the animals and you irritate the skin. Okay, so please try and keep your hands clean. The other thing is that you don't have to touch them if you don't want to. I would recommend that you do, because this is part of the experience, but if you don't, I understand. Please, again, try not to, with the starfish especially, hold them up by one leg, because although it's very tempting, they do drop their legs, yeah, their arms. Okay, they have a similar trick to lizards. The lizards drop their tails, starfish can drop their arms, and they can grow them back, so it doesn't harm the animal at all. But obviously, in an interaction like this, we want to try and prevent that type of negative thing. The sea cucumbers, the black ones, they can get quite stressed too, and when they do get stressed, what happens is they excrete their guts. It's white, it's sticky, very sticky like glue. It's not poisonous, it's not toxic. Nothing's going to happen if it happens. Okay, just be aware that that might take place. So let's start looking at some of the echinoderms. These are some of the most common animals that we're going to get. And I told you about the sea urchin. Remember I told you it was divisible by 5? Can you see the 2 stripes here? 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so the animal is divisible by 5. This is the full version of it, okay, with all these spikes. This is the dead version. The mouth goes here, and if you turn it over, you'll be able to see the teeth coming out there from the bottom. So what I'll do is I'm going to pass this down. We'll start going. Does it bite? It's a herbivore. The spikes. These spikes are very blunt. If you keep your hands open and you put the sea urchin in your hands, it's not going to prickle you. If you squeeze it, it will. Now if you look at this one, this is another type of sea urchin that we get around here, and you can see that the spikes on this one are much smaller, they're much sharper. Okay, so this one is much more prickly. But again, if you keep your hand open, you can actually just hold it in your hand, it doesn't hurt at all right? So we'll bring this down. This is another one. All of these are all herbivores. And if you look in the middle, on the bottom, you're going to see 2 things. You're going to see the suckers, which is what it uses to hold onto the rocks. And in the middle, the white thing is the mouth. It's the teeth coming out. The ones with the blunter spines, you tend to find those deeper in the water, okay? They're the larger of the 2 sea urchins. The black one that's going round is normally found here, just round here at surface waters. They're a lot sharper. Flat hands, that's it. If you do it like that, it's not going to prickle you at all. So those are there's some suckers. You see the little white dots all around there? Those are the suckers, and those are the teeth coming through. Those teeth are about this long, inside the body of the animal. So which other echinoderms did we have? Do you remember? The sea cucumber. We've got 2 types of sea cucumber here. There's the black one, which is the cotton spinner. That's the one that's likely to spew out its guts if you squeeze it. So please don't. And we've got the common sea cucumber that's a little bit more leathery and it won't. Do these animals have skeletons? No, they don't. So how do they keep their shape? Water. They use, it's a hydrostatic pressure, yeah, to keep their shape. When you bring them out of the water, the pressure here is less than in the water. So what's going to happen to the water that's inside? It's going to drip out. It's not it's not anything bad, it's just seawater, but it will happen, okay? So this one here is the common. It's slightly more leathery. And if you look, you can see the little spikes here and here, which is why it's called an echinoderm. On one end, yeah, you can hold it. On one end, you've got a mouth. It's like a sock. It eats the sand. And on the other end, is where the sand comes out. This one is the cotton spinner. You can still see the nodules on the skin, but this is the one that will put out it spew its guts out. If you turn it over, you can see the feet. Okay, and it's a similar feet system to the sea urchin. I did say, it's normal, it's normal. A lot of what we're saying here, we're just repeating. This is more about touching the animals and seeing it, because yesterday we spoke about a lot of this stuff yesterday. So here we've got a spiny sea star, okay? And as you can see, they are quite big. The feet, remember I was telling you about the feet? On the underside of the arm, you've got thousands and thousands of feet. Does it have teeth? Yes. No, it squeezes its stomach out. It squeezes its stomach out and it envelops normally mussels and things, yeah? But it also likes to eat sea urchins, which is why we don't have them in the same vat. Otherwise there'd be carnage taking place. They are very spiky. They have a central disc and all the arms come off from the disc, okay? These animals can reproduce sexually and asexually, so if they split the disc in half, they can actually completely survive, okay? The eyes, remember we were talking about the eyes, if you look at the end, you will see a colored spot at the end, and that is their simple eye. They don't see pictures, remember, they see colors, they see shades of black to white, and that's how they can tell how close to the light they are. I'm going to start handing these around, but if their arms start limping, you know, they've become a bit floppy, please let me know straight away, because we've got to put them back in the water, okay? We'll start this side. If you look at this one, what's wrong with this sea star? Okay, it's got 4, and if you look, yeah, you can't see it very well, but in between these two, it's already got the 5th growing again, okay? So this is your proof that, look, you can see it there. So those were the echinoderms. Remember I told you about the snails? This is Lampus gigas. This is the Triton shell. This is a baby. The big ones can reach about this big. Okay, so you see how small this one is. It's got a keratin door to the house. And this is a carnivorous snail. You can always tell the carnivorous snails because they've got a little siphon here. So the food, its favorite food is this, a dog whelk. And this also has a keratin door. These together would see some action, so please don't. If you poke your finger in to feel the door, please do. It's the same as your fingernails, and it's the same on this one. But they might squirt some water out because all of this is filled with water, and again, there'll be a nice siphon there, so if you're like this, the person next to you isn't going to love you for it, okay? One of the reasons why they close when they're out of the water is to stop desiccation, yeah? They normally do this when the tide goes down and they stay above the water. They can survive for up to 12 hours before the tide comes back up. It's not a problem for them. So the snails, the mollusks are some of the hardiest ones, especially the ones with shells. This is another type, okay? This is a tower shell, and this is a herbivore. You'll notice, if you look, that there is no siphon here at the front. The dog whelk over there, this is its favorite food. So we've got the sequence, the hierarchy, the food web, if you like. This one gets eaten by the dog whelk, which gets eaten by the triton shell. Okay, so that's a food chain there for you to see. Okay, so we got 2 families left. One of them was Cnidaria, which we said that we didn't have because they're primarily the jellyfish. Well, that wasn't strictly true. We do have some Cnidaria here. One, it's a parasitic anemone, and it tends to live on our final family, which are the crabs, the arthropods, and in this case it lives on the hermit crab. So I'm not going to pass this one around because the parasitic anemone stings, and it's going to sting, and it's just the only way you're going to see it. So let's go. Okay, he's a very shy individual. He can actually completely come out of his shell, and what he'll do is he'll try, in order to try and stop me from holding onto his shell, he'll come out, he'll nip me, and then he'll go back. You see, there he goes. There he goes. He can completely come out. So we know that hermit crabs can change their shells as they grow. There you go. You see, get off my shell. This is my house. He's absolutely not happy with me holding him here. And what happens with the parasitic anemones is they start, there we go. The white threads that come out. Go on, in you go. Don't. All right, start. Can everyone see that? Get off my shell. So learning is a very wide experience that we have when we're growing up. But part of learning isn't just the classroom sessions, which we also do. It's the experience of the whole marine environment. And it's very difficult to experience the marine environment through a book. So what we like to do is we like to bring anyone who wants to experience our coastline down to the coastline to actually see what it is we've got here, touch, feel and hold those animals so they can take something real with a real memory away with them. So the importance of the hands-on experience is to complement the classroom session, but also to establish a connection with the animals on our coastline. That way, with that connection, people tend to want to protect those animals, and this is the ultimate goal of this coastline session.